Hey, what's going on, guys? Matt here, and we've got this. Now, why would anybody do this? It's a complete waste of money. It is. Right now, you're wasting your money if you buy one of these boxes with the intent to open it. Um, though the boxes are cheap, they're virtually worthless. There's a few cards in the set that have some value, which I'll talk about. There's also some cards I think have potential that are on the reserve list in this set. I'm talking pretty far down the line potential, but potential nonetheless. I mean, look at Magic. There's how many cards that we've seen that are worth a fortune now that we thought back in the day were, more or less trash. How many cards got thrown away. But yeah, we're going to go ahead and open this. This is going to be really miserable. I'm going to hate every second of this. Also, look how destroyed this box is. I mean, really? All right. You'll notice I don't have my gloves on. That's how much I care about Homelands. Yeah, I don't have the clear sweat cover, hairy hand glove covers, whatever you want to call it. Man, this is going to be boring. But I will talk about some things that I think about this set. I think it has more potential than Fallen Empires, that's for sure. Fallen Empires is just a trash set. So, Temerian Fiends. This card is actually worth like $1.50. It's an anti-card. I don't know why. It's just something that... Oh, there we go. It's probably the most money you'll see. Merchant Scroll. It's like a $5 card. And Aaron. Alright. The thing with the Homelands is... I personally like the set. It's fun to go back and play with the cards and draft and stuff like that. But otherwise, there's not really much value there. The cards are pretty bad. But the cards that I think have some potential, there's a card, this one probably the most. It's Anzarin Ruins. It's on the reserve list. It's an enchantment. It's a world enchantment. World enchantment back then, huh? That you choose a creature type, and you do not... Those creatures don't untap. So if you choose like goblins, no goblins untap. You get to choose the creature type. So, it's one of those things. It's a little narrow, but it can kind of fix a situation you're in, and like Commander is the main thing. So if you're playing against a Dragons deck, someone's playing Dragons or something cheesy, then yeah, that is something you can work. Hey, look, this guy's on the reserve list. He's a Minotaur Lord, kinda. It's not very good. This card, Primal Order, I think is pretty good. You can read it there. But, again, no real value. The most valuable thing we have so far is that Merchant Scroll. And that's, I think... That's the highest price card in the set. So we're already as high as we're going to get. The reason I have these boxes is I found a guy who... He had a bunch of them. Oh, Ishin Shade, man. I remember that card. Used to be good. He had a bunch of these, and he wanted to dump them, so I got them very cheap. Just a cheap old set that I get to open. Let's see, some other cards. So, this is kind of a loose comparison, but there's a, what, Apocalypse Chime? This is on the reserve list, too. There's Apocalypse Chime in this set, which destroys all cards in Homelands, which, not that great. The reason I bring it up is you've got formats like 93, 94. And, hey, look, there's a card that I was going to talk about a little bit, too. It's an Anthem. But anyway, you have formats like 93, 94, where, that format alone has caused old cards to spike very heavily. I don't anticipate it. Oh, hey, look. What's that? Facebook? Go away. Anyway, I don't anticipate Apocalypse Chime to be anything crazy, but it's loosely compared to City in a Bottle. City in a Bottle, you know, high retail, like $100. Apocalypse Chime will never get there, but it is on the reserve list, and as Magic proceeds to get older and older, because right now we're on the verge of 25 years. So as it's getting older, what if there's a new format where, I don't know, it's everything Ice Age and back, or there's already a format 93, 94, 95. Black Carriers, that's on the reserve list too. Oh, it's bad. It's a bad card. So yeah, you know, I'm not saying that this set will ever be have anything that's even worth 20 bucks in it, but there could be some stuff that rises. I don't know how to pronounce it. Koskun Falls, which I'm sure I'll probably get one, hopefully, is another card I think has some potential. You have to tap a creature during your upkeep or bury it, and it has a kind of like a ghostly prison effect. Creatures can't attack you unless their controller pays 2, which is not a crazy powerful effect. But with more and more creatures being printed that do things like when they become tapped, not necessarily when you tap them, but you know, if this creature becomes tapped, X happens. So I think, oh man, that card's on the reserve list too. Look at that, a pony, a dwarven pony. You know, who knows? There could be some synergy. It could be like a ghostly prison effect with some synergy. It's a black enchantment as well, and there's not a lot of things in black that necessarily do that. Oh, didgeridoo. Good timing. That one's on the reserve list. It's not terrible, I guess, if you want to play Minotaurs. And I guess as, you know, Magic continues, as I was saying, there could be more Minotaurs that get printed that are actually maybe good. They already have a few that are decent. I don't think we've seen anything like amazing, competitive playable. But the more they get printed, you're going to see like commander decks and stuff like that. They're going to be Minotaurs, and there's all kinds of casual players that love to play that stuff anyway. And really, casual players are what cause card prices to go up most of the time. You know, half this stuff is going up because casual players want for cubes, commanders, all that stuff. Competitive players, yeah, they're going to make certain cards go up and down, but a lot of the time those cards eventually end up going back down, like once they rotate out of standard, because outside of a standard competitive deck, they're not that great. Ooh, man. All right. So also Homelands, it's 60 packs. So there's a lot of these packs. So I'm going to do something a little different. We're going to throw in some packs just to break up the monotony. Because, I mean, this pack could be worth more than this entire box. Who knows? In fact, it's very likely. Oh, Dingus Staff. All right. Oh, Mana Web. Okay. So this pack is definitely worth more than this box. Between that and... I just love this art. Richard Kane Ferguson. Crazy piece. Alright. Well, there's one of a few packs I'm going to open. Alright, back to this. So, one of the cards we saw earlier was... Well, actually, here's Willow Priestess. That card's on the reserve list. That card's interesting because it's a Fairy Lord. It... 2/2 for 4, as you can see, but it just taps to put a fairy into play. Now, there's not that many good fairies, but, you know, when we were in the Lorwyn block, you had things like Una, and I think that as Magic continues, you're going to have more and more good fairy cards that'll probably end up being printed somewhere down the line. And this is going to be one of those cards that is probably commander playable, because it doesn't have a cost. It just taps and puts it into play. So there's that, I guess. If there's going to be an upside to a crappy card, there's no cost to do its special ability. Hey, there's a card on the reserve list too. It's not good as well, but I do play it in my coin flip deck. That's the only commander deck I'll really play other than 93-94 commander. I have a coin flip commander deck. And I think my commander is Ruhan. Red, blue, white. This guy's on the reserve list too. Woo! Man, this mana web. Still the best thing. Nah, let's put it over here. Oh, Falcons. But yeah, there are some cards in this set, like I've been saying, I think have some potential. Albeit a small amount of potential, a low amount of potential. But I also think that in the long term that anything that's on the reserve list, collectors are going to want high graded copies of. Believe it or not, that's on the reserve list too. Apparently that card was just, it was a rare, it was good, quote unquote good at the time. They thought it was good, I don't know. I didn't play competitive in the time frame, so you'd have to tell me if it's any good. Primal Order. It's probably my favorite card from this set, or at least one of them. And Temerian Fiends down there, I don't know, it's got like, it's worth like $1 maybe, but it's an anti-card. And I think the anti-cards, you know, it's something, oh my gosh, this pack will not open. It's probably not worth it. Oh, it just came straight apart. Oh, oh, repack. Somebody repacked it. I'm kidding. No one would ever repack Homelands or Fallen Empires. It'd be a huge waste of time. Just kind of like it's a waste of time for me to open this, but it gives everybody an idea what these packs, what these boxes were like. I've seen tons of duplicates already, which I opened in an Antiquities box at Grand Prix Vegas, and I saw lots of duplicates, but I didn't see that many duplicate rares, to be honest. I wish I would have seen like duplicate workshops, candelabras, any number of things. Antiquities is, well, with Antiquities, you're not going to make your money back opening a box, that's for sure. But there is potential to get close if you get pretty much everything graded, because there are collectors out there that, well, they want everything. They want everything 9.5 and 10, you know, highest grade possible. How many shades am I going to get? Heartwolf, he's on the reserve list, and he sucks. Alright. We'll do some visions. I have some Mirage block sets laying around that are open. I opened the box because we were drafting with it. Still going to draft with it. But this is just going to break up the monotony. Hey, Impulse. Oh, Necromancy. That card, let's put that there anyway. That card is also probably worth about as much as this box. Oh my goodness, these packs. They're flimsy. They're not terribly hard to open, but they're so flimsy that they kind of just tear apart. Singir Bats. Carapace. There's lots of iconic art in this. But beyond that, just because I remember it as a kid. I remember all this stuff as a kid, because there was always Homelands junk floating around. Reef Pirates, I remember that card. Leaping Lizards. All this stuff. But yeah, this was also, I think, what, Chronicles, and then you've got Chronicles, Homelands. Look at that. Look how thin that is. It just comes apart like that. I don't even have to work at the top. Chronicles, Homelands, and Fallen Empires, that was kind of an era where people thought Magic might die because shit was just so bad. So, let me tell you, if this set, if Grandmother Singir couldn't kill Magic, if this set couldn't kill Magic, I don't know what can. Like, you know, this year we've had a lot of bannings in Standard and a lot of issues in Standard, but and I know that throws a lot of turmoil out there, and people are questioning things like, oh, why do I even buy cards? Why do I even play? Hey, there's a Fairy Lord. Not very good, but it is a Fairy Lord, so who knows? But there's, like I was saying, a lot of turmoil in Standard because people are upset about buying these cards that get banned. And, you know, part of it is because, well, part of it is simply because they went back on their rotation. Things were supposed to rotate sooner. So some of these card combinations would not have existed together. I'm not saying that certain combos, you know, like the cat combo, infinite combo, it would have existed. That's definitely one that's like on Wizards. Oh, I remember this card a lot. Saw this all the time. Not that it's good. Oh, Merchant Scroll. Oh, we just doubled our money. Oh, doubled. Look at that. Look at that. It's not even on the reserve list. It's the most expensive card in this entire set, followed by Didgeridoo. This is a card on the reserve list that I think it has potential to go up over time, maybe. All creatures lose flying and Island Walk. The Island Walk is pretty narrow. It's only going to really apply to if someone's playing Merfolk or something like that. Because Merfolk, you know, you've got a lot of Island Walk. But the losing flying is kind of a big deal. It's similar to the card out of Legends. Let's see. Gravity Sphere. That's what it is. Gravity Sphere is a red and 2 colorless, and all creatures lose flying. But anyway, back to Standard. What I was saying is that, you know, there's a lot of things they didn't expect to happen because of the rotation. Players didn't like rotating faster because that means they have to dump more money more frequently into Standard to keep playing competitively, which I get that. You know, I see both sides of it. I understand why they wanted to do it because it kind of breaks up the monotony. Because really, the last 4 to 6 months of Standard, hey, Apocalypse Chime, talked about that earlier. The last 4 to 6 months of Standard before rotation, unless the last set that came out just really shook things up or was really powerful or had a lot of really fun cards to play with that created diversity, it's going to taper off. Like, people are going to stop playing. They're going to wait for that rotation. They're going to sell their cards, or at least try to sell their cards. And you're not going to see as much stuff getting open because of that. So I get that's why they did it. And now, since they had such backlash from players, they changed the rotation back, which means that a bunch of stuff didn't rotate when it should have rotated, and it's kind of caused some chaos. I also know that Wizards, you know, there's quite a few people, I'm sure, that are not working for Wizards anymore that were on the R&D because they're changing that whole thing up. Oh my goodness. Just want this pack open. Oh yeah, look at that land. Woo. Woo. Ugh, gross. You know, they're changing R&D up, so there's not going to be, hopefully, going forward, as many issues. Now, they can't really prevent the things they've set in motion for the next few next few sets. Yeah, they can't. They definitely can't prevent what's in motion here. Look at all this garbage. Narwhal? Dude, that card's on the reserve list. This card's on the reserve list. This card's kind of cool, but okay, not really. It sucks. Narwhal. I love the art to that. That card is, to me, iconic. It's terrible. It's really bad. First strike protection from red. 2/2 for 4. I guess back in the day, that's power creep for you. Chain stasis. They tried to do a blue stasis, or a blue chain, I should say. Kind of like chain lightning. This one is just bad. You tap or untap target creature, and then similar to chain lightning, your opponent can do the same. They pay a blue and 2 colorless. All right, let's open some Mirage. Something. Oh, Mirage packs. Much different than these crappy Homelands packs. Like the actual pack itself. That thing is thick. Oh, I think... Yeah. Frenetic Efreet. That's the card, because it's on the reserve list. And it's one of those coin flip cards. So nothing crazy. Alright. Not a big deal. But yeah, not a lot of cards in this set obviously worth money. I went over Anzarin Ruins, Apocalypse Shine, Koskun Falls. Mystic Decree is one we saw, like I said. The one that creatures lose flying in Island Walk. I think that card's alright. This card is on the reserve list. It's okay. It's a Falcon Lord. And it gives Falcons banding. So, you know, great card. Deserves to be on the reserve list. But, I don't know. You look at cards like, what, out of Alliance's Kesa? I don't know how to pronounce it. It's a green 5-drop that gives all of their green creatures +1/+1. So, obviously that card's better than Soraya. But it has a similar effect. Soraya costs less, so if they ever revisit Lorwyn and we start seeing a bunch of sweet changelings and God, maybe they make a powerful standard Falcon, I don't know. I'm sure that's a pipe dream, but if any of that stuff happens, you know, if the stars align, then maybe Soraya in like a commander format might be worth having. So, you know, being on the reserve list, hey, there's Koskun Falls. I like that card. One of the few cards in this set I like. If it's maybe one that's worth having, and once it's on the reserve list, and if somebody buys it out once it actually sees some sort of play, you know, suddenly you go from a 50-cent to $1 card, there's another Mystic Decree, to, you know, $5, $5, $6. And then you've got all the people who want to collect the reserve list cards, and they're going to want high-graded copies. Because otherwise, you know, what's the point of having a $5 card if you can't have a BGS 10 or like a BGS 9.5 at least? So I think there is potential, albeit little potential. I'll probably end up getting some of this stuff graded too. I just the other day sent off some of the stuff from my Exodus Stronghold box and some stuff from the Antiquities box. I'll end up doing a video showing all that stuff off, seeing what kind of grade it got. Merchant. Oh, tripled our money. Oh man, Merchant Scrolls. We're almost through this whole box. I think I've talked my way through this entire box. Yeah. How many other people on YouTube are going to open up an entire box of Homelands? Probably no one, because they value their time. I guess that card's on there. Merchant Scroll? Merchant Scroll? No. Okay. Great. Wonderful. The only other reason to open something like this is that quality control is pretty lax. Or maybe not lax, maybe just wasn't that good back in the day. This card's on the reserve list too. It makes 01 blue walls. So, again, real narrow, real random, but maybe people play it someday. Who cares? All these enchantments that start doubling up on, you know, when a token comes into play, you know, you get 10. So maybe this card will be relevant in something. So, nothing in this pack's going to be relevant in anything, though. Ooh, it's bad. Back to what I was saying, though. The only other reason to really open up something this old is misprint collectors. You know, they like anything that is radically misprinted, really. And since the quality control on some of these old sets was so out there, you know, you might get something, you might get a box or some packs that have cards that are wildly miscut, or the inking's off or something like that. So there can definitely be some value there, but that's, again, that's a shot. Didn't we just get this? That's a shot in the dark. So I definitely would not suggest opening these old, terrible boxes just to hope for misprints, because it's not very likely, and that's the only reason that they do have value. Let's get rid of that destroyed box. All right, we got 2 packs left. All right, we're gonna do one more of these. Let's do one more of these. Let's go Mirage first. Let's do it chronological order this time. Sand Golem. All right. Ugh. Tainted Spec. I don't even remember this card, to be totally honest with you. Okay, it's bad. Yeah, I just read that real quick. It's terrible. Alright. Nothing cool or interesting. Very boring pack. Alright. Visions. Ugh, pack. Hey, a Fire Blast. There we go. Not that that's really worth anything right now. Dorma Volcano. Yeah, again, this pack. Not very good. Yeah, I'm still happy about that Mana Web. I called that card when it was like $2. I was like, this is a powerful effect that's on the reserve list. It'll probably go up for one reason or another. And it did. Ugh. Ugh. Anything. Anything. Nothing. Nothing at all. I mean, Inner Sanctum's okay. It's an interesting effect. Cumulative upkeep 2 life. It reduces all damage to your creatures to 0. So, I don't know. Commander. Does anyone play this crap? Who knows? I think it's on the reserve list. I could be wrong. I'd have to look that one up. Alright, let's do these last 2 packs and end our misery. Though I do like opening old stuff. It doesn't really matter what it is. I enjoy it. Oh, Didgeridoo. Oh, thank God. Oh, thank God. Oh. Oh my God. Thank God we got something. Thankfully, I didn't pay very much at all for this box. I've got more boxes of it, but I'm not going to open them. I'll just... It's better off to leave them see... Oh, finally. There we go. There we go. This is one of the better cards from the set. Was always really powerful. It's just a vampire. Vampire Lord, kind of. Regenerates vampires. This card was done by Pete Venners, and this is actually a... kind of a self-portrait of Pete Venners, from what I understand. So it's one of the few pieces of art that he actually has left in his possession. He just has not, to this date, sold it yet, because I would assume it's a self-portrait. He likes it. But when and if it hits the market, I'm sure it'll go for big money. People love that card. It's very iconic. It still sees play. It's still worth like $3. And when I say sees play, it's purely Commander. Alright, guys. Well, that is... woo! Look at that. I don't have gloves. We got 2 Didgeridoos, 3 Merchant Scrolls, Baron Singir, some other $2 cards in here, but I definitely did not make my money back. This Necromancy and Mana Web probably are the things that do it for me. Anyway, I've got more boxes that I'll end up opening, but feel free to subscribe, if you will. I think YouTube's like once I hit 100 or something like that, I can actually get my own URL or something. I don't know. I don't really care. But I'll have more of these boxes, so go ahead and subscribe, and you'll get a notification anytime I open something up. Thanks, guys.